Howdy, Dennis Bradford here. Let's think some about being, feeling, and doing better. Could your energy level be hampering your using energy testing? Yes. If you calibrate at 199 or lower, you won't be able to use energy testing for truth. Even if you calibrate at 200, 30% of the time you use it, you'll obtain only inaccurate results. If you calibrate at 200 or lower, you have two choices with respect to the energy test. A, you could drop the idea of using it. That, though, is unnecessary and I think would be foolish. By 2001, the test had been used successfully at least hundreds of thousands of times. By now, that number is in the millions. Having a reliable test for truth is an epistemologist's dream. B, you could raise your score to enable you to use it reliably. That's what I recommend for 3 reasons. In the first place, raising your score significantly is not difficult. Here's David Hawkins's reassurance from letting go. The transitions from one state to a higher state are not difficult to make, end quote. Other sages make the same point. Why do they seem difficult? The reason is due to our level of understanding. Remember that what we think becomes recontextualized at each higher level. So, something that seems difficult today may seem easy tomorrow. In the second place, and sages since the Axial Age have been making this point, quote, high levels of functioning are not only possible, but they are an inherent birthright. They are the natural state of which you have been deprived by all the programming that the mind has been subjected to since birth. In the third place, a great benefit of living better is that it makes emotional flourishing possible. Once we drop all the programming and surrender to our natural state, we realize that prolonged emotional distress is unnecessary. Quote, to be surrendered means to have no strong emotion about a thing, end quote. About anything. When we free ourselves from attachments, we really do become free. Dropping that programming enables us to flourish emotionally. I explain more about these points, especially the second and third, in subsequent videos. The critical task is simply to drop all the resistance to dropping all that programming. How could that be not difficult? For a fortunate few people, it's not only easy, but it just happens naturally. Dropping all the programming is called waking up. Although it's uncommon, some people seem to have been born awake, and others seem to awaken spontaneously. If you'd like more on this, I recommend Steve Taylor's Waking from Sleep. How awake are you? If you don't have a spiritual teacher and would like to test yourself, there's an inventory of wakefulness in the appendix of Steve Taylor's The Leap. Waking up for most of us requires mastering some meditative practice or other. In the Stress Reduction Wizardry playlist on this channel, I described both aliveness awareness and Zazen. In a subsequent video in this playlist, I review them and discuss additional options with respect to spiritual practices. Let's assume, as is likely, that you are not yet awake and would seriously like to live better. In Chapter 5 of my latest book, The 5 Secrets to Making Changes for Good, I discuss a really important tactic for improving the quality of life as easily and quickly as possible, namely, creating your optimistic environment. Like it or not, for all us non-sages, our environments have profound effects on us. It's quite possible that you're watching these videos because of an important loss in your life that had serious emotional consequences. If you decide to do so, and I encourage you to do so, you have the ability to turn any suffering, whether emotional or not, into an opportunity for learning how to live better. The people around us usually have a major influence on us. Are the people around you critical, negative, and judgmental? Or do you hang around sages, philosophers, and givers? Why not spend a lot less time with those who are not even trying to live well and a lot more time with those who either live well or are at least seriously trying to live well? You may not know any sages. Perhaps you personally know 200 or so people, and the odds that any one of them is a sage are again extremely low. Have you not, though, heard of recent and contemporary sages? What about Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama, or Eckhart Tolle? What about Philip Kapleau, Thich Nhat Hanh, or David Hawkins? What about Ramana Maharshi or Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj? Of course, there are others as well. You don't have to know them personally to benefit from their teachings, and learning doesn't necessarily require spending money. Why not go to youtube.com? It has many videos of and about them that include interviews, as well as talks by them. Reading is normally much more efficient than listening. Why not go to a library and check out some books? Alternatively, go to a bookstore and buy some, or order them online. In these videos, I've only referenced books that calibrate very highly. For example, Hawkins's The Eye of the Eye calibrates at 980, and his Power versus Force calibrates at 850. Even if you yourself calibrate now below 200, reading one or both of those might, by itself, jump you up over 200 and enable you to begin to use energy testing. If you're serious about living better, read only books that calibrate above your level. The higher a book's energy calibration, the better. I have more to say about this on the next video. Let's end emotional distress.